Hey everyone, Teacher Phelps here again. This is part 2 of my videos on the topic of anti-teacher language. I got the same shirt on, I'm ready to go. If you haven't yet, please check out the first video just so you have a better idea of what the heck I'm talking about. Today, we're going to look at a video example of modern education leaders using anti-teacher language. We're going to watch the video, I'm going to kind of share my thoughts throughout, and then at the end I'm going to summarize my message on anti-teacher language. We got a lot to cover, let's get rolling. Before we do all this stuff, I need to lay some groundwork. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I'm a firm believer in what I call the big three. Teachers are overworked, overstressed, and underpaid. For me, when I'm talking about education or anti-teacher language, that is my starting point. You can say that is my bias. To put it in a graph form, it looks like this. As you can see, work and stress are high and pay is low. Pretty simple. The blue line on this graph kind of represents the norm or the equilibrium for where we want to go. If we want to improve education, if we want to improve the work environment for teachers, we need to get these big three to this blue line, like this. So as you can see, in a reasonable profession, work, stress, and pay would be reasonably aligned. So if we're going to have a debate or a discussion for how to improve education, we need to agree on this stuff first. Here's where we're at, here's where we need to go. Anything opposite of this, or just completely ignoring it, is potentially anti-teacher. So when I'm examining this video, when I'm examining anti-teacher language, that's where I'm coming from. Here's where we're at, here's where we need to go. That's my bias when looking at these issues. Okay, having said that, now let me introduce the video we're going to look at. In the video, Texas candidate for governor Beto O'Rourke meets with the Dallas Independent School District leadership team. This includes the head honcho himself, the superintendent Michael Hinojosa. Basically, Beto spends a few minutes asking some really important questions, and then they, the leadership team, spends a lot of minutes bragging about their district and just bragging about how awesome they are. Now, from the sounds of it, the Dallas ISD emphasizes and relies upon a merit pay system to improve teacher pay. The idea is that the better teacher you are, the more money you can make. Now, this merit pay system sounds good on paper, but for me, I would say it's highly subjective and very unfair for teachers. In fact, I would love to make a video later on about a merit pay system, and I probably will, but for now, I just want to quickly summarize my 3 main problems with a merit pay system. Number 1, it's potentially very unfair. If you've been a teacher or if you've been a student, you know not all classes are alike. Some teachers are handed extremely difficult classes to manage and teach, while some teachers are handed more reasonable workloads. That alone should disqualify a merit pay system as a reasonable solution to teacher pay. Number 2, it emphasizes teaching to the test. Now, the way they judge whether you're a good or bad teacher is based on student test scores, specifically how much growth your students show from the beginning to the end of the year. So, if your pay is directly linked to this, no doubt you're going to focus on test taking. Why wouldn't you? Okay? Ultimately though, this kills lesson creativity and it puts a lot of stress on teachers and students. Number 3, a merit pay system creates more work. If you're teaching to the test, there's no doubt in my mind most of your materials, quizzes, tests, videos, whatever, are either A, not provided, or B, not properly aligned to state standards, which ultimately means you're going to end up creating more and more junk. It's more work. Okay, I'm sorry, one more. Number 4, the tests themselves are highly unstable and questionable. There continues to be an ongoing debate about the bias within these tests. For example, sometimes they're biased towards a certain group or socioeconomic status in society. The second thing is that these tests are very unstable, especially when districts transfer from paper to having it only be online and digital. From my own experience, we had these tests have tons of problems and just completely fail 2 years in a row. The test scores were just thrown out. So if your pay is based on that, then what? Teachers just don't get a raise? Then what? You use last year's test scores? It's just a mess. Okay, last one, I swear. I just really hate merit pay. Number 5, the pay increase is marginal at best and does nothing to address the amount of pay teachers actually deserve. Thank you. Let's just watch the video. Okay, hello everyone. So here is the video we're going to be going over. We got Beto O'Rourke's big beautiful face here. Here's the title. Beto O'Rourke discusses education reform and campaign for governor. This is posted by Forbes Breaking News. It's got 9 likes, tons of comments. Most of the comments are just anti-Democrat junk, like just ignore them. Although I did leave a comment, feel free to check it out. I was just feeling fiery that day. That was 3 weeks ago. But this is the video we're going to be looking at. The link will be in the description if you want to watch it yourself. To start the video, and just in general, I'm going to be jumping around to different timestamps. So right now we're going to go to our first timestamp. So we're at our first timestamp at the 31-minute marker. Just as a reminder, this is our main dude, Michael Hinojosa. He's the superintendent of Dallas ISD. He's going to do the majority of the talking and answering of questions, okay? At this marker, Beto O'Rourke asks a pretty important question about teacher retention. Let's check it out.
Districts struggle with, and you might know you all may know the number, I've forgotten it, but some frightening number of teachers leave the profession within the first few years. So we spent all this money training them, they've answered the call, and we lose them. What was your key in retaining them and keeping them within the district?
Okay, so you can already kind of get a sense of how this conversation is phrased. He's asking, what's your key for retaining them? So he's essentially like, Dallas ISD, you're amazing. How do you keep so many teachers? They really don't, but let's talk about it. Let's see how Mr. Hinojosa responds.
That's a great question. It was strategic compensation. It's called the Teacher Excellence Initiative.
Okay, strategic compensation, Teacher Excellence Initiative. Fancy words for merit pay. If you go to their website, they outline what this rewarding excellence system is, Teacher Excellence Initiative. It differentiates salaries to reward teachers who perform well and raise student achievement results. So again, merit pay. I've already outlined why I think that's bad. This is our first example of anti-teacher language. Back to the video. The man continues his response.
And this was started by my predecessor, and we made it work. And the board was very courageous, and people told us it couldn't happen. I read an interview where 48% of the teachers right now are thinking about leaving. I just sent a message to the board that we're so lucky in Dallas that we have lower turnover rate than the state of Texas, lower turnover rate than the region, lower turnover rate than any suburb in Dallas.
Okay, so just to break that down a little bit. Without actually showing the numbers, these claims could be misleading. I'm not saying they are, they could be. He's saying we have lower turnover rate than the state of Texas, than planet Earth, whatever he's saying. Either way, it doesn't matter because you could literally be 1 or 2 teachers lower and you can still use that phrase, we have the lowest turnover rate in Texas. Again, without the actual numbers, it's misleading, potentially. Hey, me again. I'm adding this after recording. As I edit it, I see some things I want to talk about further. I just want to point out, in the face of that fact, 48% of teachers are thinking about leaving. Rather than engage with this problem in society, in the system. This leader emails his staff, his whatever he emails, and brags about how his district has less teachers leaving. This is so anti-teacher, he's completely sidestepping the issue, the very real and serious issue that's developing as we speak of teachers leaving the profession. He sidesteps it completely and just brags about some sort of positive thing in his district. This is the type of stuff teachers hate when there's an actual issue to discuss and address, and is completely sidestepped for some form of toxic positivity. Let's continue.
We're going to have one teacher make $131,000 this year. We're going to have 73 are going to make over 100,000.
73 making over 100,000. Dude, teachers are making six figures. This man figured it out. Not quite. Let's just do some simple math. So first of all, I just did a simple Google search. How many teachers are in the Dallas ISD? This little number here says 10,428 teachers in the Dallas ISD. Here it is again, from 2019 and 2020. Let's just go back real quick just to see what he was saying in the video.
And one teacher make $131,000 this year.
One teacher is going to make $131,000 this year.
We're going to have 73 are going to make over 100,000.
73 teachers are going to make over 100,000, and they've got this number memorized. Okay, it's like, ooh, we can just throw this number out and blow people's minds. Okay, now that we know how many teachers are in the district, let's do the math. We're at our handy little website, calculator.net. They do not sponsor this video. We're looking, okay, 74 is what percent of, what's the number, 10,000, like 428, I already had it. Boom, what do we got? 0.7%, okay? So let's let that sink in. This man is bragging about 0.7% of teachers earning six figures. That is embarrassingly low. Okay, imagine going to a conference or something and someone's like, less than 1% of teachers will be earning six figures. You would take off in a minute. You'd be like, forget being a teacher. Again, he's phrasing it like it's a good thing. It's embarrassing. Anti-teacher language. Here it is. Let's see what he says next.
73 are going to make over 100,000. But part of it is we've gone to year-round schools at 46 campuses, and those teachers are there because they get to earn more money because they work longer and they work harder.
Okay, did you see what he did there? He kind of pivoted a bit, okay? He's talking about year-round schools. Teachers earn more money, but they work harder and longer. Again, bragging like it's a good thing. This is directly anti-teacher. Let me show you why. So we're on my little PowerPoint here. Here's the graph I showed you. This, in my opinion, is where we're at today. Teachers are overworked, overstressed, and underpaid. Our goal is to get here. More equalized system. Makes sense, okay? To get there, we need to do this. We need to decrease work and decrease stress and increase pay. Pretty simple. This man, Michael Hinojosa, is saying teachers are getting paid more, but they're doing more work. They're gonna have more stress. He is not fixing the system. If anything, he's keeping it the same, just at a higher intensity, okay? Anti-teacher language. Here it is, folks. All right, let's go back to the video. Here we go. What's he saying next? Jeez.
Because they get to earn more money because they work longer and they work harder, and you got to deliver.
And you got to deliver. Again, putting the emphasis on the teacher meeting and performing to get this money. Totally anti-teacher.
And I used to have to go to Puerto Rico.
All right. Anyways, this is the part where he kind of goes off on some random tangent about bilingual teachers. It's just kind of irrelevant to this discussion, but my favorite part is about to happen. This man here, the shaved head, he has had enough, okay? He's like, listen, let's get back to the topic of teacher pay. He's gonna try and reel back in the conversation. Beto's mind is blown. He's impressed by what he's seeing, but this man is gonna rescue us. He's like, no, we gotta talk about teacher pay.
We have 35 of those campuses all over town.
Yeah, I love it.
Can I
That's
say
great.
one other
Yeah,
point?
yeah.
On the idea of, educator pay, it's also
Ooh, excuse me. Back to educator pay. Let's see what he says.
about educator quality.
It's also about educator quality. Again, putting it back on the teacher. Anti-teacher language.
We've had to create a system that does two things. One, it increases what we ask of our educators.
It increases what we ask of our educators. Again, overworked. You're not fixing it. You're making it worse.
We ask them that, when you show up, you've got to be moving the needle for
Merit pay.
But there's sort of this theory of reciprocity there to say that for every increment of accountability we're asking of you, we want to give you an increment of support.
An increment of support. Okay, so he doesn't fully say pay, but he says support. Okay, now I'm just assuming he's talking about the merit pay system, but if he's saying money instead will go to support, that's even worse, because now you're not affecting teacher wages, you're just affecting like more PDs, more trash teachers have to sit through to try and get more money. Let's see what he says.
And for far too long, the money hasn't been there, but we made very difficult decisions to ensure that the money would be there. Again, you've got to be moving the needle.
Support for training, support for
Absolutely.
making sure that you can afford to be a teacher.
Absolutely.
Do we have time for one more?
Okay, so it doesn't really get into it, but Beto says support for training, affording to be a teacher, whatever. Again, it's a little unclear. Who knows what he's talking about? Either way, it's anti-teacher. He's not saying teachers need to be paid more. They need to earn it. They can get money in support and training. Whatever. This is another amazing part of the video, okay? This kind of loops back around to what we were talking about merit pay and testing. Now, I don't think Beto is really like connecting the dots, so I don't think he's really trying to hold these people's feet to the fire. If anything, I think he's just sharing a little anecdote, okay? But if you actually connect the dots, the very discussion he was praising and having is the reason for this anecdote he shares. Let's hear it. Yeah, we got time, Beto.
One quick question. So I was at an event in Odessa at the beginning of the week, and at the end, two teachers came up, said hello, and they said, Beto, if you could do one thing, it would be these high-pressure standardized tests that I feel like I've got to perform to. Anecdotally, and who knows the value of anecdote, but anecdotally, a number of teachers have said, I'm no longer teaching this text. I'm teaching kids how to take a test and say, hey, don't read the first few words in this paragraph and skip to here and get the conclusion. That's what you need to know. And they worry that they're not preparing these kids to be the critical thinkers we want them to be. And it's also not connecting with the passion that they feel about the profession. They don't want to teach test taking. They want to teach the thing that they were called to teach. What is your response to that? And how do we listen to those educators who say, hey, judge me on what you've been able to do, the accelerated transformation in those schools, which has to be done with metrics and things that we can all observe and agree upon.
Just ask the question.
This intangible that you've been able to
Holy
bring to the
crap.
equation, which is the joy
Beto, chill.
the sense of purpose that I think those kids and educators feel when they walk in there. How do we strike that balance?
We can, it's possible.
Okay, so he kind of went off the rails there, but his question's important. His anecdote's important. He's sharing how teachers are coming to him, begging, if you can fix one thing, help us not have to teach to the test, okay? It's destroying our passion for education. I would probably argue for students, it destroys their passion to learn, okay? Now this goes directly back to what I said about merit pay. If their pay is directly linked to these test scores, of course they're incentivized to teach to the test. If you don't earn more money. Okay, so the system sets teachers up to fail. Completely anti-teacher. Let's see what this guy says. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to hear it.
Well, first of all, don't ignore the teachers when they tell you that.
Oh, don't ignore the teachers when they tell you that. I like it.
However, though,
However,
in Texas, we're the godfathers of accountability. Remember,
we're the godfathers of accountability. Check out this next statement. This reveals everything.
we made up No Child Left Behind. It went national and blew up.
We made up No Child Left Behind. It went national and blew up. Now, as an educator, as someone who's been a teacher for 10 years, it's simply a fact. No Child Left Behind was a catastrophic failure for the education system. It is directly responsible for putting us in the system we are in now. Everyone I talk to, every teacher understands No Child Left Behind was a joke, was a failure, and set schools and teachers up for failure. This man is bragging about it, okay? Again, anti-teacher or just totally not connected to reality. This is what we're dealing with, okay? The reason I'm showing this video is because this is one person that represents so many other people in education. Anti-teacher language all over the place. Michael Hinojosa is probably a really good person, okay? From the sounds of it, he's sort of like a legend superintendent of the Dallas area. He's probably done a lot of great things, okay? But my tolerance for people who use anti-teacher language is very low. And I think it's important when we come across leaders like this, we sort of check their biases. I mean, something is just not right with the things he's doing and saying. So, doing a little bit of information, just something to think about. On the Dallas ISD website, they show the contract for their superintendent. His annual base salary is $335,000 per year. Now, some people in America, in certain areas, the starting teacher salary is $36,000, $37,000. Now, just put that into perspective. Some of these teachers are earning 1/10 of this man's salary, okay? It'll take them 10 years to earn what he makes in 1 year. Now, is this the type of leader that we want to trust when he's using blatant anti-teacher language? Just something to think about. I would further ask, Michael Hinojosa, how hard are you working for your salary? I'm betting you're not working that much harder than some of the teachers that work in the Dallas ISD, okay? If you're willing to criticize and question how hard they're working, we need to criticize and question you. Just from looking at this very basic video, it's clear you are really not too concerned about what is actually happening with teachers. As you can see, anti-teacher language comes in many forms. The better we are able to recognize it, the better we can stand up for ourselves and defend against it. Teaching is just an incredibly unfair and difficult profession. Blaming and demonizing teachers does absolutely nothing to fix the issues in education, and it often just sidesteps problems teachers have to deal with every single day. To put it more bluntly, teachers are the victims of the modern education system. Recognizing anti-teacher language also has the positive effect of helping us identify those leaders, administrators, maybe politicians that actually support teachers. We can then better encourage them or just embrace them and help them in fighting for change. My advice is do not accept anti-teacher language from anybody, society, administration. Stand up for yourself and call them out respectfully when necessary. If you don't want to be confrontational, at the very least, I want you to know they are wrong. By understanding this fact It will help you not internalize all the problems and criticisms thrown your way. As a teacher, we are faced with the absolutely unreasonable task of shaping and educating society. For even attempting it, you are an amazing human being. Thank you for all your hard work.